Hello, 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 hello. Welcome. You guys there? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Some of you can only hear me. Some of you can see me and hear me. Welcome to the Dad Smoking Cigars podcast, sponsored by StokeyLives.com, cigars, social media, and of course, Casa Cueva Cigars. From our casa to yours. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And you know, I'm sad right now. I'm sad because I met these wonderful people at TPE that own and represent the brand Drunk Chicken Cigars. Now, these were some people I'd wanted to get connected with for the longest time, and I was very happy to get to hang out with them. They gave me 3 of their cigars to try, and the first one I decided to try was called the Fat Hen. And it's no joke, this little baby, I mean, very small. I don't think it was any bigger than like maybe 2.5, 3 inches at most. Not very big. But those of you checking it out on YouTube, I'm trying to show you the band here. Focus, Daniel-san. There she be, the Fat Hen. But, you know, it came in like a little teeny tiny torpedo, I guess you could say, you know, petite, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the Vitola is. It was short, it was fat, so it's not just a clever name for the Fat Hen. And this beautiful little cigar, I don't know, I think it was how I cut it. I might have cut it down a little too far. The wrapper came completely undone, and this is just all binder now. And it made me very sad because I was enjoying the cigar, but the wrapper just couldn't hang, and so I'm sadly gonna have to, because I'm trying to puff on the cigar and I'm just sucking a lot of air from the sides that are open. You know, there's really no saving this, unfortunately. I mean, I'm trying, so, but I'm getting nothing, and I'm really sad about that. So, because it's still burning. It's still burning. I haven't had to relight this once. It's still burning, but I can't smoke it, and I'm really sad. But because, you know, because that's my first foray into that which is Drunk Chicken Cigars. So you know what? I'm going to go to my humidor, and I am going to pick another cigar, because I can't not smoke something while I'm doing this, because Dad's smoking cigars. Dad needs to be smoking a cigar. I'm Dad. I'm the dad. I'm gonna get another cigar. Talk amongst yourselves. There is it. One on one out one. Hi. Okay. Get it out of the cello here. You can probably hear the crinkling. It's not a bag of chips. This is another cigar. I'm hoping I have better luck with this one. Those little cigars, they can be delicate, really delicate. If you cut it wrong, it just comes apart. But this one here is called the Mother Clucker. Mother Clucker. Your hearing is working just fine. So yeah, I think this is gonna be a fun one. Definitely. Gotta take a picture of it, or it didn't happen. Gotta take a picture of it, or you didn't smoke it. It's gonna get bright, and then it's gonna get okay, and oh man, I'm all washed out. My desk is so dirty. Like, it is just like, or it's not even a desk. It's like a bar table that I built out of sanded plywood, and I stained it. And I'm honestly thinking of getting rid of it because I feel trapped behind this thing. Get back to the better lighting. Those of you listening on Spotify and Apple and wherever, you're not seeing it, so you're just hearing me do a bunch of shit, and I hope it's entertaining at the very least. Look at that. Perfect cut. right there. That filler, it always gets you sometimes when you, well, always gets you sometimes. Wow, Kyle, your grammar just, it's terrible right now. That is a delicious first puff of the mother clucker. Anyway, you guys come for the hammy shit, okay? You come here to watch me act like a dork while I'm smoking a cigar. I mean, if you were 100% honest, that's why you're here. I feel like I got to adjust my camera just a little bit because the shadow of the mic arm, again, those of you listening can't see this, is blocking my face. And you guys, I mean, you got those of you watching on YouTube, I mean, you want to see the face. The face. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, that was unfortunate to have the fat hen, because I mean, it was just a cute little chunky cigar, and I really wanted to smoke it and get the full experience. But you know, it happens to the best of us, and even some of the most well crafted and constructed cigars have fallen apart for me. And you know what? It's unfortunate. It's a sad reality. It happens, and you know, we just have to move on to the next cigar and enjoy that one all that much more. So we're here. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you're here, whether you're listening on the podcast or watching on YouTube. Hello. I am so glad you're here. And you know what? Sometimes I will, and I've talked about this before in previous videos, I will come on here and I will have all the desire and ambition in the world to record an episode, to talk about various things, maybe give a little bit of a review of a cigar that I'm smoking, which so far the initial puffs of the Mother Clucker are quite tasty. Very bready, earthy, slight bit of sweetness on the back end, and yeah, it's good so far. So I might give you my thoughts throughout, but you know, we're just here to talk and hang out and smoke some cigars. And that's really the feel I want to make sure you guys have when you're watching this video. Now, I had the pleasure of getting to be on the 505 Cigar Review show earlier today. My buddy Dan Ravanelli, he invited me on his show, and I got to hang out with him and talk for a while. And then we had this funny little weird thing that happened at the end where everyone could hear both of us, but I couldn't hear Danny. And that was frustrating as hell. It was kind of hilarious, but still frustrating because, you know, I wanted to, he was about to tell me a story. He was about to, and I'm going to have to find out what the story was, if he even remembers later on. I'm going to have to give him a call and just find out, like, hey, what was that story you're about to tell me when we went radio silence? Okay, I want to know. I got to know. It was a live show with a cliffhanger. I mean, I don't really see many of those, but, you know, it happened nonetheless. Now, it being a live show, there was no script. I mean, I never have a script anyway when I'm doing these pre-recorded episodes, but a live show on YouTube, and, you know, we were just talking. We were just shooting the shit, having a good time while we were smoking our cigars, and, you know, there was really no direction or rhyme or reason or method to the madness. We just decided to hang out like we're at a lounge or something, except there's a little bit of an audience. And you guys as my audience, I want to make sure that whatever I am recording and putting out there for you to see or listen to is fun, entertaining, and really most importantly, that I'm coming to you from a real place. There's no pretense. There's no me putting on a front or an act or some sort of gimmick, being anything other than myself. And, you know, not everybody's going to dig it, but for those of you who do, I appreciate it. And I really hope that when you're watching, you feel comfortable, you feel relaxed, and you can enjoy the monologue, essentially. Engage me in conversation in the comments if you want. But, you know, it's really nice to be able to just come here, hang out, and enjoy. And I hope that's what you're doing right now. Straight up, sometimes I got nothing. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I don't know what I'm going to put in an episode. And sometimes I just wing it. And you know what? There's some fun shit that comes from me just winging it in an episode, because you never know what topic I'm going to, you know, roll out. You never know how much of a dork I'm going to act like, because that happens. Last episode, I definitely brought out my goofy side, doing my voice impressions and whatnot, talking about movies and entertainment, and it was a good time, and I hope you guys liked it. I liked it. I had a fun time recording it. This isn't the type of show that you write a script for, though. There have been times when I've kind of written down some notes or some information, stuff like that, when I would do the cigar news, which I'm actually going to share with you some cigar news on this episode, some of the latest things to develop in the cigar industry and community. I would have my phone like hanging underneath the camera or just to the right of it, and I would like glance at it, try to make sure I was keeping my eyes on the camera as much as possible, almost like I'm reading a teleprompter. I actually very much considered buying a teleprompter off of Amazon. They actually, sell them for anywhere from $150 to $250 for a decent one, where you can have your tablet or something like that, laid down in front, and the mirror or the two-way, mirror, you put the camera behind, it can actually, you can actually see the text, and you can control it with the remote. It actually has a little remote that comes with it, and that would be handy, but I don't really have much of a script most of the time. I'm not really doing that when I'm, shooting a video, because I'm very much a seat of my pants kind of guy. I just roll with it. The beauty is that editing makes it all flow nicely, because you have no idea how many times I pause in between certain bits, segments, or conversational topics that I'm throwing out there. Like, you honestly have no idea how many times I stop myself, start over, depending on whether or not I thought my sentence was absolute just garbage. I kind of restructure the sentence and then I put it out there. You guys are getting the raw, like, I'm telling you about the raw behind the scenes kind of stuff, where I'm just like stuttering, stammering, and not really able to formulate what I'm trying to say. It can be hilarious. It could also be frustrating. But you guys get to see and listen to the, edited and polished final product, because, yeah, if I posted this stuff raw and unedited, oh my gosh, you guys would just lose your minds, because there would be so many moments of silence where you just hear the vent fan humming in the background, and maybe I'm kind of fiddling with something, writing something down, or I'm scrolling on my phone. There have been times I actually forgot I was still recording, and I was doing whatever I was doing, and it's usually just me scrolling through my phone or listening to something, or just sitting here and staring off into space while smoking my cigar. Like that. Ooh, I gotta say, right now, this mother clucker is clucking quite a bit, and I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's my way of saying that I am getting a delicious creaminess out of this stick, and it's a party on my palate, and it's lovely. I like it. It's good. So that's me bouncing back and forth, talking about how I don't always have stuff to talk about, and yeah, you just get to hear me yammer on and on and on. And those of you who've stuck around so far, thank you. I appreciate it. But enough of that. I'm gonna go ahead and read off some cigar news like I told you I would. All right, here we go. So PCA is moving to spring 2024. Normally it is in the summertime every year, usually around July. I know it's usually around my oldest son's birthday. His birthday is July 11th, and it usually falls around there. I haven't been able to attend a PCA yet. It's one of those expos that I know is very much oriented around manufacturers and retailers and stuff like that, as opposed to just the general, cigar community and those who are enthusiasts. TPE is kind of more geared towards that. But in any case, they announced that PCA is going to be moving to spring 2024, specifically March 22nd to the 25th. Previously called the IPCPR and the RTDA before that, didn't know that. The trade show has been held during the summer months for at least the last 20 years, much to the chagrin of many of the retailers and cigar companies who attend the annual convention. The PCA has finally heeded the industry-wide complaints and announced today that the 2024 show will be held on March 22nd to the 25th at the Las Vegas Convention Center. Apparently, according to PCA Executive Director Scott Pierce, said from pretty much his first day on the job, he had heard from numerous members that moving the trade show earlier in the year will be better for the annual business cycle. Honestly, I had no idea that this was something that a lot of industry people were struggling with, or that this was an inconvenience to a lot of them. So this is definitely news to me. I'd never heard anything like this before, so apparently this is a good thing. President of the PCA board, Greg Zimmerman, said the new dates will give retailers the opportunity to have products before the busy summer season when the demand is the highest. So that makes sense. A lot of people are going to have some free time during the summer. They're going to smoke more. They're going to buy more. At least that's what I'm thinking. I probably have no idea what I'm talking about. However, this year in 2023, the PCA trade show is taking place from July 7th to the 11th, like it normally has. Obviously, pushing it back wouldn't be beneficial for manufacturers and retailers because they got some cigars they're going to be rolling out. Rolling out cigars, hand rolled. Anyway, but it's going to be at the Venetian Expo Convention Center in Las Vegas. So I know plenty of people who are going to be attending PCA. So, hopefully next year it'll work out for you guys as well, because I know plenty of influencer types, such kind of like myself, who have YouTube channels and heavy presence on social media, promoting cigars and all the various aspects of the lifestyle. And hopefully this works out for them, because the industry people, apparently it was an inconvenience, and I'm hoping it's not an inconvenience for my friends who will be attending, but I guess we'll see next year. Moving on over to cigarpublic.com. This is a story I definitely wanted to kind of touch on and highlight, because I recently interviewed Manolo Santiago of Casa 1910 Cigars, and this article focuses exclusively on Casa 1910, so let's have a look and have a read. The title of the article is Casa 1910 Cigars and Manolo Santiago have a revolutionary story to tell, and yes they do. I'm going to go ahead and leave a card in the corner of my interview with Manolo, and you can get to hear him talk about that himself, but right now you can just hear me read off bits of the article. One of the opening sentences of the article, one of the first sentences of the article says that when a new player in the cigar industry has something new to offer and also has an appealing story to go along with the new blends, well, that is a perfect trifecta of interest, and I couldn't agree more. Talks about how Casa 1910 made their PCA debut in 2021, something that me and Manolo were able to talk about as well. Bring with them a pointed emphasis on Mexican-grown tobaccos. And that is something that I got super excited about when I was talking with Manolo, just because it's not something you really see. Yes, there are Mexican tobaccos that are usually put into cigars, particularly the Mexican San Andres wrapper, which is grown in San Andres, Veracruz. It's all the San Andres Negro tobacco. This tobacco features prominently in a lot of my favorite cigars. Some of their first blends being Mexican Puros. The story they have to tell is the Mexican Revolution, which began in 1910. Casa 1910, the year of the Mexican Revolution. Their cigars all tell of significant places, events, and persons who played major roles in the often overlooked event in history. And I definitely got a history lesson when Manolo and I got to talk. I was pretty much hanging on every word Manolo had to say, because obviously being from Mexico, his native language is Spanish, and as he put it, he had a chance to practice his English with me, and I just love listening to him talk, and he has just such a passion, not only the cigars he makes, but the history that inspired them. Casa 1910 began with just one blend, the Cuchillo Parado, a 5x50 Mexican Puro, utilizing a Mexican-grown Sumatra wrapper with binder and fillers grown in San Andres. Commemorating the first battle of the Revolution and the Chihuahua town of the same name, the Cuchillo Parado stands as Casa 1910's flagship cigar and is part of what Manolo labeled the Revolutionary Edition. Casa 1910 just had one cigar that they rolled out at PCA 2021. As it says, the flagship cigar, and Manolo said this over and over again in our interview, and it was the one cigar that they had ready and perfect. The blend was exactly the way they wanted it, and it was ready to go for PCA, and it was a massive success. And Manolo has just, I'm so very happy and proud of the success he is continuing to have. It's a very personal article that the people at Cigar Public wrote, because it's very much an intimate article talking about their own particular views as well as the history and the story behind the brand. It's less of a report and it's more of a blog entry. So if you want to check out the article itself, I'm going to leave links to the PCA article as well as this article in the description below, so definitely check it out at your own leisure. And one last story just to kind of cap things off for this week in cigar news, your week in cigar news. Wildfire Cigar is shipping the Intro and the Wanderer, the two new releases that they debuted at TPE this year. The Intro is a 6x46 Corona Gorda that uses an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper over Corojo binder and fillers from Pennsylvania and the Esteli and Jalapa regions of Nicaragua. It's made at Fábrica Centroamericana de Tabaco S.A. in Danlí, Honduras, best known as Cavalier Genive's factory, and this is the first time that Wildfire is working with this factory. Both cigars have an MSRP of $12, and the Intro is limited to 700 boxes of 10 cigars. And the Intro is the first of 3 different releases that are modeled after the parts of a rock song, Intro, Hook, and Breakdown. Wow, that's kind of cool. The Intro had technically already gone on sale through Luxury Cigar Club, but as of the publication of this article, it says it marks the first time orders are shipping to stores nationwide. The Wanderer is also shipping, and it's also made at Fábrica Centroamericana de Tabaco S.A. I just like saying that. Sorry, I'm showing off. I'm showboating, what can I say? 3-size line that uses an Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper over a Nicaraguan Habano binder, and 4 fillers, Piloto from the Dominican Republic, Broadleaf from Pennsylvania, and tobaccos from Jalapa and Paraguay. So that does it for your week in cigar news, and we're going to keep moving on from here. Admittedly, that was not as polished as, my segments that I did before of your week in cigar news. That was all put together, edited, nice and tidy, but this was more of just a casual walk through the park that is cigar news and things like that. So I hope you found that interesting and didn't mind me so casually inserting my thoughts and opinions throughout. Moving on. Can't help but touch on entertainment just because it's the industry that I very much want to get into, and have to talk about this movie, which I can't wait to see. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it in theaters, just because movies are fucking expensive, especially here in California. And yeah, I really don't feel like paying, $15, $17 for movie tickets when I can just wait for it to come out on a streaming service. Call me lazy, call me whatever you want. Most people do. It's just something that, as much as I am excited to see it, I'm okay to wait for it until it comes out on HBO Max. And the movie I'm talking about is, of course, John Wick Chapter 4. Now, I love John Wick Chapters 1 through 3. It was a fantastic watch. Every movie had something different to offer. Every movie had a very interesting story. And of course, we get to watch Keanu Reeves and the unrelenting badassery that he trained like a madman for. I remember watching an interview with him regarding I think it was Chapter 3 that he was training for, because it was him and Halle Berry that were training for the just ridiculous amount of physicality that was required from them to be in this movie. And Keanu Reeves said that they would just work him to death and just abuse him every which way because of all the different moves and fight choreography he had to do. But he loved it, and it's like he said that even when they'd beaten you up pretty much for the millionth time, he would say something along the lines like, "May I please have another, sir?" And it's just like, holy shit. I'll be honest, I get exhausted watching Keanu Reeves have to just continuously battle a myriad of assassins who are coming to kill him. I mean, he is a machine in this movie, but you look at him and you're like, he looks tired. He looks really tired. And no doubt he is tired. I'm pretty sure he would rather not have to contend with the League of Assassins, which, is a whole different franchise altogether. But shit, man. There are all these guys and girls. I mean, geez, some badass women in these movies who just want to kill him. And he massacres them. All of them. Doesn't matter if he gets shot. Doesn't matter if he gets stabbed. Doesn't matter if he falls off a fucking building. Spoiler alert, that's what happens at the end of John Wick Chapter 3. He's knocked off the fucking building. The Continental Hotel, where all those assassins go to stay, relax, and, you know, occasionally get contracts to kill people. He got knocked off the building by Ian McShane, which really, I mean, was the only way he could save his life, because the table was ready to just kill him, and so he knocked him off the fucking building, and he landed very hard. It's just insane. Obviously, the movie is based in no reality whatsoever, just because I mean, the punishment that just the character of John Wick takes in these movies, and it's just non-stop. He never gets a moment to breathe or relax or rest. He has to just continuously fuck up everyone that crosses his path, and I just like it would almost be a mercy if he just died, but you can't kill John Wick. I mean, you shouldn't kill John Wick because it's John Wick and John Wick is awesome. But apparently you also can't kill him because he won't die. No matter how much he is jacked up, he keeps going, and yeah, it's insane, but it's also awesome. So I'm looking forward to Chapter 4, obviously. And they have like so many other action stars, like legends in this movie, like Donnie Yen. They have Hiroyuki Sanada, who, I mean, that guy has been in movies for years. Very talented martial artist, much like Donnie Yen. I mean, the guy's in his 60s. I don't know how old Donnie Yen is, probably close to the same age. But Hiroyuki Sanada, if you don't know who he is, you'd recognize him if you saw him. He's been in a crap ton of movies. He was actually in 2 Marvel movies playing 2 different characters. He played one of the villains in The Wolverine. Can't remember his character's name, but he was like one of, he got jacked up by Wolverine towards the end of the movie. He's the one who stabbed Wolverine with a freaking katana, and Wolverine just walked away from that no problem. And for his trouble, yes, Mr. Sanada he got wrecked. Mr. Sanada also popped up in Avengers Endgame as the Yakuza boss, who Hawkeye / Ronin, played by Jeremy Renner, kills in the middle of Tokyo. And most importantly, in recent film history, Hiroyuki Sanada played Scorpion in Mortal Kombat. I mean, this guy, again, he's in his early 60s. The man is absolutely incredible at what he does. He is a talented martial artist, pretty good actor, and he's also a singer. So he's a triple threat. Jesus. I mean, he can kick ass, he can act well, and he can sing. I mean, the guy would be perfect for Broadway. I will say, though, the bittersweet part about John Wick Chapter 4 being released is just before it had its Hollywood premiere, Mr. Lance Reddick, who played Charon, I can't remember how his name is pronounced, the concierge of the Continental, passed away. I haven't heard or seen disclosed what was the cause of his death, but you know, from what they can tell, it was from natural causes. But it's just incredibly sad because the man was a very talented actor. He was not only an actor on camera, but he was also a voice actor. He was in Vox Machina, which is on Amazon Prime. He was in, I mean, a bunch of things. He was in a Batman animated movie. He was on video games. The guy had been he was in Godzilla vs. Kong. I mean, the guy had been in like some really great productions, a very prolific actor, and it is just really unfortunate that he didn't get to see the finished product of John Wick 4. But from what I understand, he said he was very proud of the project. They worked very hard on it, and so yes, it is very unfortunate that he passed away before he could see the film. And of course, you got returning Lawrence Fishburne. You got Ian McShane, who plays Winston. He's the guy who runs the Continental. I mean, but they got all these other people coming in. And, I mentioned Hiroyuki Sanada and Donnie Yen. Clancy Brown is in the movie. I don't know if you know who he is, but you definitely recognize him by seeing him, but you'd also recognize his voice. Clancy Brown is a very prolific voice actor, probably one of my favorites. The first thing you might have seen him in, though, was in the movie Highlander back in the 80s, and he played the villain, the Kurgan. The psychotic, leather-clad dude with a massive broadsword that's trying to kill Christopher Lambert's Connor McLeod, cutting off heads and asking questions later. But yeah, he played that role exceptionally well, and I've enjoyed his work ever since. But the crazy thing about Clancy Brown is if you don't know him by seeing him, you'll definitely recognize his voice, because Clancy Brown does the voice of Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob SquarePants. I shit you not. He's done a bunch of other voice roles, he's been in a bunch of Disney movies, cartoons, all these various other video games and animated movies. Gosh, man, the guy is he's a machine in regards to his voice. But it's just funny because he can play these really complex, dynamic roles, but he's the voice of Mr. Krabs. SpongeBob, me boy! We need more Krabby Patties right now! I had to, do my Mr. Krabs impression. We're talking about him, so Money! Money! Money!
Mr. Krabs, there's more to life than money.
What are you talking about, SpongeBob? Life is all about money.
I'm not quoting lines from the show, but that's basically the dynamic of SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs' relationship. But suffice it to say, I'm psyched. I'm looking forward to the movie. Again, I would love to see it in theaters. I'd love to see it on the big screen and IMAX and all that shit. But movies are expensive. It's just going to see a movie in the theater. As much as I miss sitting in a movie theater and watching movies, when I was in high school and after graduating, for the longest time, I would be seeing movies constantly, just like several a month, some of them multiple times. I remember when Lord of the Rings came out, and yes, you're going to find out how much more of a nerd than I am. I saw all the Lord of the Rings movies, multiple times. I think the most I saw any one of them was about, 6 or 7 times. Yeah, I spent my money 6 or 7 times to go see those movies. I just loved them. I enjoyed them. I had a blast. But I also did the same thing with the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, because that movie was awesome. But years pass and the movies just become more and more expensive, and I think especially after the pandemic, the worst of it ended and you were able to go back to the movie theater and see movies like God Intended or The Universe or whoever, and the prices went up astronomically because the demand went up, skyrocketed. People wanted to go back to the theaters to see movies because we missed it. It was fun. We liked sitting in the dark theater watching a movie on a big ass screen, eating popcorn and drinking soda and having nachos and stuff like that. The kind of shit that I used to do all the time that I really miss. And the snacks are even worse because they're so expensive. You get a small soda at the theater, and it's like what, $5-6? No, I could buy 3 16-ounce sodas for that much, or maybe just slightly more. But which is why I try to sneak shit into the movie theater. Me and my wife, when we go see movies, we try as hard as we can, and my wife has a purse, so naturally that's how you do it. But I think they're actually starting to search purses and bags you bring into the theaters for safety concerns, and also they want to make sure you don't bring in outside shit because they want you to buy their shit, their overpriced shit. And even though there's some good shit at the movie theater to eat and snack on, it's too friggin' expensive. And so yeah, those are all the reasons why I don't frequent the movie theaters as much as I used to. I honestly can't remember the last time in the last movie that I saw in the theater. It's been that long. I honestly can't remember. I'm gonna have to dig in my brain, or just ask my wife what the last movie was that we saw, or that I saw, if she even knows. I don't know. But for those of you who have seen it, please don't post any spoilers. I mean, I'm sure it's pretty straightforward. It's a John Wick movie. John Wick's gonna kill a whole bunch of people, and hopefully he doesn't die at the end. But they're talking about potentially having a John Wick 5, Chapter 5 already. And I saw some posts joking about how it's going to be Old Man Wick. And if it worked for Wolverine, I think it can work for John Wick. But I guess time will tell. We'll see. But seriously, the Mother Clucker, back to this cigar. It is delicious. I'm really enjoying it, and nice and bready, with a creaminess and sweetness to it. A little bit of kind of like grassy hay notes. Really tasty. Just, yeah, it's good. I would definitely, if you're watching or listening, go check out Drunk Chicken Cigars. I'm also going to leave a link for them in the description below. But yeah, they make a damn good cigar. In regards to the podcast, guys, I just want you to know that I got some pretty big plans for things that I want to do, guests I want to have. Couple of you have, a number of you have asked, like, when's my dad coming back? And for those of you who are just joining the podcast, who are just getting into the episodes of the podcast, the recent ones that I put out, rather, I will occasionally have my dad on the show. I refer to him as the original Dad Smoking Cigars, and that's the reason why I call this podcast, this brand, Dad Smoking Cigars. He got me into cigars. My dad. I'm a dad. Dad Smoking Cigars. It just works, and it's relatable, and a lot of people have told me how much they enjoy and appreciate the naming of this brand. So very soon I'm going to have my dad on the show, and we're going to talk about, who knows what. I'm sure he's going to try and maybe tell some embarrassing stories about me, and I'm going to clap back, and I'm gonna, it's gonna be an interesting conversation. We have a great dynamic, him and I. It's always fun, it's always hilarious, and we have a good time, and I think you guys will too, as I have him back on the show. But I also have some special guests lined up. I was talking a while ago with Mark from Select Draw Cigar Cutters. Really great guy, and hope to have him on the show soon. Dan Ravanelli, who I was just on his show, probably sometime next month I'm going to have him on the podcast. And there's some other people that I've been getting in touch with and will hopefully have on the show soon. So expect some really fun and good conversations, guys. I'm super excited about it, and I hope you are too. And I hope you've been enjoying what I've been putting out so far. But I believe that does it for this episode of the Dad Smoking Cigars podcast. I appreciate all of you who have tuned in, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, Apple, or wherever podcasts are available. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. Please take care of yourselves, keep it smoky, and as always, I will catch you in the next one.